Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show.
Rated the #1 most listened to podcast on Pluto. So join us now as we discuss news, politics, current events, and so much more. So clear the airwaves and strap in as we
defend the Constitution, because freedom matters.
Broadcasting live from the Kida Studio. Welcome to the Ho-Ho Show. And as always, I'm your host, Ho-Ho. So how y'all's doing? I hope you're doing good. I really do. So, man, I tell you what, there has been so much going on. I mean, this past week has been, there's a lot going on. I mean, so much going on. And yes, I forgot to hit a button whenever I first got everything up and going. But, you know, that happens. That happens. So, y'all know how I like to start the show, and, you know, we'll get into that, but, you know, we've got school shooting to touch base on. We've got the Day of Vengeance, which is today. I wonder how that's going. I mean, they kind of said, I think, that was canceled, but I'm really not sure, if I'm completely honest with you. I have no idea if the Day of Vengeance has been canceled or not. And we'll be talking about that later on in the show as well. We're going to be talking about, of course, Donald Trump being indicted. And, you know, I wonder if that's going to backfire on them. I think there's a very good possibility that it will. But before we get into that one, let's touch base on my satire. We got to get into the satire. This headline from Babylon Bee, my go-to source for satire news articles. Pelosi says that we have to convict Trump on charges to find out what's in them. Now look, yes, this is satire, but I want to touch base on something right quick. Okay, this is somebody whom has been in politics for quite some time. Speaker of the House for quite a while. Third in line in the line of succession of the president. This is somebody whom is supposed to know the Constitution. She is supposed to know what's going on. You know, she's supposed to know all that stuff. But whenever she was talking about the indictment of Donald Trump, she basically said that everybody has the right to prove their innocence. Let me say that again. Nancy Pelosi, somebody whom has been Speaker of the House, third in line of the presidency of the United States of America, she said that everybody should have the opportunity to prove they're innocent. She said that this indictment was right and legal and all that other kind of good stuff. Look, let me tell you why this ticks me off. Here in America, the land of the free, home of the brave, or at least that's what it's supposed to be. You are supposed to be innocent until found guilty, not guilty until found innocent. You don't have to prove your innocence. The defense has to prove your guilt. Why doesn't Nancy Pelosi understand this? Wait. She does understand this. That's the thing that I think a lot of people would like to ignore. That these people on the right, it's easy to consider them crackpots and stupid and ignorant and having no clue on what the heck is going on. And yeah, our president may, you know, fall under that category of being completely clueless. But make no mistake about it, he still spent a lot of years in politics. It's not like he doesn't know how the game is played. And if you think that the person who's pulling the strings doesn't have an agenda, you would be a fool. They know what they're doing. they're not stupid. They're changing the narrative. Changing the narrative. Now, this next article I'm going to get into. Now, this is, spawns off of the whole school shooting, which we'll get into later in the show. However, I wanted to go with my moniker of defending the Constitution on this one, which is why this is where we are starting the program, outside of, Nancy Pelosi being a complete buffoon, but she's not a buffoon. This headline for Market Watch. What is a Let me try that again. This headline for Market Watch, what is a well-regulated militia? No less than Alexander Hamilton defined it for us. That's right. What is a well-regulated militia? Okay, now look. This is, of course, talking about the Second Amendment. This little puppy right here, this is my Constitution. An amazing little document. This puppy contains the Constitution, the Declaration of Independence, and the Bill of Rights, and the rest of the 17 amendments, bringing it up to 27. And guys, I tell you what, if you don't have this, please get one. Please do. These things are cheap. They're like 50 cents a pop. You can buy them whatever quantity you want to. 50 cents a pop. And if you don't have 50 cents, and let's say you have a tablet or a phone, get Kindle, and you can get all those documents for free. I would also implore you to get the Federalist Papers, because if you want to know what certain things mean and why they made the decision that they made, what was the argument on doing something, then that's the best place to go. Don't go to some person who wants you to trust his pedigree, whenever you can go straight to the horse's mouth to find out what they were talking about. What were they talking about whenever they wrote the Second Amendment? The best place to go is the Founding Fathers, the people whom had that very debate. And the only way to do that is the Federalist Papers. Now, again, these things were written in plain, simple English. It was made for regular people, idiots, if you will, to be able to read it and understand it. All you got to do is open it up and read it. Yes, there's a language barrier. No. Let me take that back. There's not a language barrier. There's a time barrier. It was written quite a while ago. We don't quite use common parlance, from that long ago today. But that's okay. Read it a couple times. Read it 3 times. It's not that big. I mean, this sucker only consists of the actual words, before it gets into the signers. 39 pages, that's all it is. That's the end of it, 39 pages. And most of that 39th page is the signers. That's what most of that puppy is. It's not that long. I highly recommend you getting one. They're 50 cents a pop, or you can get a digital version for absolutely free. Get it. Now, I'm going to read something out of the Constitution, talking about the Constitution, actually talking about the Declaration of Independence. That's actually where I'm going. Okay. Now, to this article, what was Alexander Hamilton talking about with a well-regulated militia? How did he define it? Well, if you read the Constitution, the standing army is only supposed to be active for 2 years. After that, they're supposed to be dispersed or the decision go to Congress on whether they are going to continue their service. But our founding fathers were very leery of a standing army, hence the Third Amendment. You're not forced to quarter soldiers. That's what that is. They did not like a standing army. And so the job of defending the borders, defending the homeland, was the job of the militia. And the biggest thing that separates a soldier, okay, a person in the military, enlisted, between the militia is, you see, the military has their gear provided for them. But the militia does not. They have to buy their own gear. They got to buy their own pack. They got to buy their own ammunition. They got to buy their own rifle, their own pistol. They got to have their own gear. They got to, be able to, salt their meat, which was one of the prerequisites in there. In other words, they had to know how to take care of themselves. That was the difference between the militia and the military. And what did they mean by well-regulated militia? Well, that's actually kind of simple too, because they wanted them to be trained. Now, they would have you believe that that's what the National Guard is, but oh no, the National Guard doesn't provide their own stuff. Their stuff is provided for them. However, the idea that you should be trained is, you know how to use your gun, know how to use, have all the gear you need, know how to use it, and, survival techniques, hunting, maybe different things of that nature might be a good thing. I don't know if they actually did calisthenics back in the day, but that's not a bad idea either. Your body's got to be in shape. Not a shape. It's got to be in shape. Sorry. I'm mean to myself. I know. I don't care. That was funny. If you didn't laugh at that, you really should. That was funny. But that's what they were talking about with a well-regulated militia, a militia that has their own stuff, knows how to use it, and is trained enough to be able to follow orders, know the art of war, if you will. I'm not talking about the book. I'm talking about, just simple gun safety and maybe even more advanced gun safety. You got to know how to use the stuff you got. Otherwise, you're kind of worthless. If you don't have some type of training, you're a liability out there on the battlefield. That's what a well-regulated militia was. And you cannot have a well-regulated militia unless the people have the right to keep and bear arms. That means to own and carry on their person. That's what it means. It's pretty simple. It's not hard to understand. That brings us to, before we move on, there's something else I want to read. And that's what's the whole point of the Second Amendment. Okay? No. I'm going to wait because that's actually going to come up a little later. Yeah. This headline from Vox. America's unique enduring gun problem explained. I don't think they need to explain it to us because I think it's pretty simple. There was a time in our history, going back, 50, 60 years, maybe 70 years, maybe, our parents being in school and our grandparents being in school. Back then you had, a lot of trucks in the parking lot of the school. In the back of those trucks, you had a gun rack. On that gun rack was generally a shotgun and or a rifle. We didn't have any school shootings back then. We didn't have a lot of the gun restrictions that we do now, and more people legally carried firearms. I say legally carried firearms because, it's legally carrying firearms as in the state says that you can do it versus constitutionally carrying firearms as in that's what the Constitution says you can do. And why constitutional carry isn't a thing in all 50 states, I have absolutely no idea because that's the way it should be. Why there is a battle about this, why is there a question about this, why is there any delay on this whatsoever, I have no idea. but it should be constitutional carry throughout the entirety of the nation. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed, to own and carry on your person in the public domain. I'll add that little tiddly bit on the back. We don't have a gun problem. We have a people problem. That's the problem explained. It's that simple. We don't have a gun problem. We've had guns in this country ever since our birth and before. We've had guns for a long time. We don't have a gun problem. We have a people problem. We have a problem with snowflakes. We have a problem with people that have absolutely no idea how to deal with their own feelings. We have a generation of people that don't know what freaking bathroom to use. I got my education from Arnold Schwarzenegger and Kindergarten Cop. Get into that later. I'm sure you know what I'm talking about. We have a people problem. We don't have a gun problem. We have a people problem. And that brings us to this article right here from NPR. President Biden pushes for assault weapons ban, but GOP leaders remain opposed. Of course we're freaking opposed, because we know it ain't a gun problem. Okay, now look, here's the thing. Let me give you some stats. Let me give you some statistics. Let me give you some numbers, okay? Numbers don't lie. Numbers don't lie. It's facts. It's information. That's all I'm giving you. You can like it. You cannot like it. But if you don't believe me, look it up. Don't just write it off. Look it up. I invite you to look it up. Everything I talk about on the show, you can go to the website, thehohoshow.com, go over to the newsfeed tab, and there for the date of the show, you can find the magazine that I use on Flipboard. Everything that I do is right there. Fact check me. Look it up. Why are they wanting to ban assault weapons? Now, look, according to the gun community, an assault weapon is a weapon that shoots in burst or fully automatic. Okay, an AR-15 is not an assault rifle. It shoots semi-automatic. It is a semi-automatic rifle. The AR in AR-15 stands for Armalite rifle, not assault rifle, because Armalite Rifle is the company that designed the AR-15. The AR-15 was not a military rifle that was made into a civilian rifle. It was a civilian rifle that the military liked so much that they were like, let's make a military version of this. Y'all's like to try to put the cart before the horse, and that's not the freaking case. But out of all the mass shootings, most homicides in general, only 3% are committed with what the left calls assault weapons, which an assault weapon, an assault rifle, is any rifle that looks scary. Ooh, it looks ugly. The AR-15 shoots a rifle that looks like this. The jacket, the bullet itself, the projectile is this little bitty thing right here. Okay? This little bitty thing right here. Size comparison, this is a 50 cal. This is a 50 cal. This is a 22 or a 223, 5.56. This right here, what is this? The heck? All right, so I don't know what that is. Is that a 308? That might be a 308. Oh, hey, here we go. Yep. Yep. I think one of these is a 308. One of these is a 762 by 54R, maybe. I think so. But here's my point. Here's my point on this, guys. Okay. Some stupid idiot in Congress was like, most people don't go hunting with an AR-15 because there's nothing left of the ammo whenever they get done shooting it. No, that's not the case, actually, because this, these right here are more common for hunting, and actually even a bigger rifle. A 0.06, I believe, is what's more common for hunting big game, which is a lot bigger than a 223/5.56. We don't use these in big game hunting because it's unhumane. Because the likelihood of you putting down the game that you're hunting in one shot is slim to none. That's why they don't use this. Once it's shot and then you're putting it out of its misery, sure, okay, you can use that. But you're not going to use that in big game hunting because it's inhumane, because it doesn't put it down. The left really should not talk about things that they have absolutely no idea what they're talking about. I mean, remember the idiot that was like, oh, on the military base, if we put too many people on the island, it's going to capsize. He was being honest when he said that, okay? That's not a joke. That's what the stupid idiot actually said. We're talking about the same people that was like a full semi-automatic. What the heck is a full semi-automatic? It doesn't exist. Anyway, here's the thing. President Biden pushes for assault weapons ban, but the GOP leaders remain opposed. AR-15s, things like that, okay, assault weapons, as the left likes to call them, even though they're not assault weapons, but as they like to call them, only account for 3% of homicides. That's it. Most of them are committed with pistols. In fact, most homicides are actually suicides, but they classify them the same. Like a huge number of homicides are suicides. So why is it that the government keeps pushing for an assault weapons ban, considering assault weapons only account for about 3% of homicides, mass shootings, whatnot in this nation? Well, there's a reason. And in order to know what that reason is, we got to go to the Wayback Machine and we got to read the Declaration of Independence. But I want to be honest with you about something. The Declaration of Independence wasn't a declaration of independence. Yes, it was. But more than that, it was a declaration of war. There's one paragraph in here that they like to talk about. And it's the second paragraph. We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. And even though the paragraph does not stop there, most people's knowledge of that paragraph does. But that paragraph actually continues. That to secure these rights, governments are instituted among men, deriving their just powers from the consent of the governed. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of these ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it, and to institute new governments, laying its foundation on such principles and organizing its power in such form. What did that just say? That the government's responsibility is to acknowledge our God-given rights. The Bill of Rights, the First Amendment, the Second Amendment, all the way down to the 27th, but mainly the Big Ten. Okay? But all 27 of them acknowledge the rights, and it is the government's job to protect them, not to tell us what our rights are. I mean, if you read the Ninth Amendment, it's you have way more rights and freedoms than what we could possibly put in this in the Bill of Rights. But we don't really feel it necessary to number them all here, we would be here for a very long time. The 10th Amendment is whatever power is not specifically given to the federal government or restricted to the states belongs in the hands of the states and of the people. There's your 9th and 10th Amendment right there. Part of the Big Ten. The government's job is to protect rights. That includes the right of the people to keep and bear arms. Shall not be infringed. Every gun law that restricts people's right to keep and bear arms is unconstitutional. I'm not sure if you're aware of that or not, but it is. And what I just read to you is the reason why they want to ban assault rifles. Quote, unquote. According to Benjamin Franklin, we should all be able to have flamethrowers, which are not illegal, by the way, cannons, weaponry that is equal to the military's. There was a story about a shipping vessel that had issues with pirates. And the captain of said vessel was like, went to Benjamin Franklin and was like, hey, I got a question. And Ben Franklin was like, what was that? What's your question? And the pirate goes, I want a cannon on my vessel. That they just came out with the newest, baddest, most amazing cannon they have ever made. Ben Franklin was like, yeah. I want to put it on my vessel to protect my crew and my cargo from pirates. Ben Franklin was like, okay. Can I do that? Ben Franklin read the Constitution. He read the Bill of Rights. He looked at the Second Amendment, and he says, yes, America. The sawed-off shotgun is an illegal modification. Why? Because it's not currently being used by the military. That was a judgment that was passed forth whenever sawed-off shotguns was deemed illegal. That means if it is a military, or if it is a modification to a firearm currently used by the military, then it is perfectly legal for us to use. That's what case law precedence means, isn't it? They like to tout the wonders and the glories of case law precedents. The people on the left. And here we have case law precedents that says if it is a modification to a weapon currently used by the military, then the civilians can have it. Why are we not allowed to have assault rifles? Rifles that shoot and burst, or fully automatic. I just read to you a section in the Declaration of War. The Declaration of Independence. That whenever any form of government becomes destructive of those ends, it is the right of the people to alter or to abolish it. Ladies and gentlemen, make no mistake about it. Our founding fathers didn't just come home from a hunting trip. They just got done fighting tyranny. They were told by the redcoats to put down your arms, and Americans responded with "Kiss My Anthem." They said no. Bluntly said no. We fought for tyranny. That's why they want to ban assault rifles. But I'm not an idiot. You see, I remember history. And history is pretty clear on something that when the people allow the government to disarm them, it never ends well for the people. Pick up a history book. Look at what happened to the people of Germany with Hitler, Mao, many others, in various countries, Australia being one of them. What happened to the people whenever they allowed the government to disarm them? Genocide. Mass murder. And what could the people do to retaliate? Nothing. The government disarmed them. There was nothing anybody can do. They were helpless. There's only so many Wolverines out there. But the Wolverines, absent hardware to do it, would have been useless whenever the Red Dawn came. You understand those references? Holy crap, I just kind of gave it to you, though, but that's beside the point. There's a reason they're wanting to disarm America. There's a reason why they want to ban assault rifles. Please don't. Don't let them. Any order to do that is unconstitutional. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Why? Because a well-regulated militia is necessary for the security of a free state. Everybody should be like what's going on in Florida right now. This headline from Axios, Florida to become the 26th state to allowing permitless carry of concealed guns. That's exactly the way it should be. Why are we having the argument about constitutional freaking carry? That's the way it should be. When New York became a state, when Illinois became a state, when California became a state, when Missouri became a state, when Michigan became a state, they all said, we will adhere to and honor this. The Constitution, the Bill of Rights, the Declaration of Independence, we will honor and respect this. The Second Amendment, a well-regulated militia being necessary for the security of a free state. The right of the people to keep and bear arms shall not be infringed. Why do we not have constitutional carry on all 50 states? Why is it that only half of them I have no idea. I have none. We're going to go ahead and take a break. When I return, we're going to be talking about QAnon Shaman. The QAnon Shaman. You know, the famous guy with the fur hat with the Viking horns, you know, the guy that was involved in the January 6th overthrow of Nancy Pelosi. You know, I mean, he sat at her desk and next thing you know, he was the next president. Oh, wait, it didn't happen like that? Really? But I thought he was charged with insurrection. Oh, he wasn't charged with insurrection. Oh. Huh. We're going to take a quick break, and then we're going to talk about this. Because I got some news here. I got something I want to tell you. I got a story. And I think y'all might be interested, and I hope that when we are done with this, you are as aggravated and ticked off as I am. Something wrong in this country. Yeah, there is. Just a couple minutes, and I'll be right back. Do you love your occasional Mexican dish or your musical fruit? Are you tired of walking by family members and crop dusting them? Well, if this has ever happened to you, might I introduce you to Tampons brand butt plugs. Tampons brand butt plugs is that particular type of butt plug that allows you to walk in public in confidence knowing that you're not going to accidentally crop dust somebody. Tampons brand butt plugs now with the plastic applicator.
Not just for women anymore.
Tampons brand butt plugs. All right, and we are back. So, man, I tell you what, this one had my blood boiling. Okay, I'm not going to lie. This article, this right here, made my blood boil. This headline from Daily Mail. QAnon Shaman Jacob Chansley is released 14 months early from prison after January 6 footage showed him being escorted by cops inside the Capitol. Yeah. You know, one of them that was arrested. Look, by now everybody's heard about this, okay? Everybody is aware that we have political prisoners in this country, in America, something that we never figured that we would ever have. We have political prisoners, all because they chose to support and defend the wrong guy in an election. When asked if the defense could see this footage that they had, the judge said no. They already have enough. The prosecution went through it. We ain't got time to allow you the time that you would need to go through this evidence. We're talking hundreds of hours of footage. We can't do that. We ain't got time for that. We need to get the ball rolling on this. They've released enough, as in the prosecution has released enough footage to give you an idea on what has gone on with all of these people in there. You don't need to see anymore. And this guy, the QAnon Shaman, Jacob Chansley, he pled guilty to his charges. Didn't really feel like he had a choice. And when McCarthy released this footage to Tucker Carlson, what the footage revealed was very telling about what was going on that day, especially in the case of the QAnon Shaman, Jacob Chansley, because it showed that officers let him in to the Capitol. Let me say that again. Officers let him in to the Capitol. They escorted him around the Capitol. There was 8 escorting him and took him to the chambers, where her desk was and gavel and whatnot. Let me say that again. there was 8 cops that was escorting Jacob Chansley around the Capitol, painting a completely different picture of what was going on that day than what the prosecution had originally told us. Now, the thing is, if let's say you're somewhere and some, there's a sign or this thing that says you can't go in there, and a cop says, no, you can go ahead and go in there. That's fine. An officer of the law is telling you this, that, it's easy to assume, it's easy to come to the conclusion that what the police officer is telling you to do is not an unlawful act. That's why he was released early. Is his record going to be expunged? We don't know. I think it should be. Exculpatory evidence was found showing that he was escorted by Capitol Police. His should be expunged. His record should be cleared of it. He shouldn't have to be in that halfway house anymore, because that's what he was released to, serving basically half of his sentence. Here's the takeaway of this, ladies and gentlemen. And I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say this twice, and I hope you pick up what I'm throwing down. Okay. I want you to hear me. I want you to understand what it is I am about to tell you. The prosecution and the judge colluded to withhold evidence because the narrative was more important than the facts. Evidence that painted a completely different picture that would have meant a not guilty plea, or judgment, I should say, of the QAnon Shaman Jacob Chansley and so many other people that have been involved in this. Now, I want to say that again, and I hope this sinks. I hope the hook is set, and I hope you pick up what I'm throwing down. The prosecution and the judge colluded, withheld evidence from the defense because this evidence went against the narrative. And the narrative was more important than the facts. I don't think you've heard me yet. I don't think you have. The prosecution, whose job is truth. That's their job. Their job is to take the evidence and use that to prosecute the right person and to make sure that the right charges are being filed against the defendant. That's what the prosecution's job is. Their job isn't to win. Their job is to find truth and to use facts. That's their job. The judge is to be a mediator, okay? And the prosecution and the defense colluded to withhold evidence because the narrative was more important than the freaking facts. Are you picking up what I'm throwing down here? That's what they did. This judge should be impeached. This prosecuting attorney should be disbarred. Never to practice law, never to teach law, never to do anything whatsoever, ever again. He failed. The arrow should have his way with him. Yeah. We're taking another break. When I return, maybe I can calm down a bit. But when we return, we're going to be talking about the indictment of Trump. Yeah, I'm not going to calm down. Yeah, we're taking another break. And maybe.
You are correct. You are correct. You are correct. You are correct.
Have you ever been so full of it your eyes are brown? Have you ever sat on the toilet but nothing comes out? Is a box of frosted shredded wheat just not doing the trick? Well, have I got the ultimate solution for you? Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. See, Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse is that particular product that will break through the sphincter like the Kool-Aid Man through a brick wall. Oh yeah! No more irregularity, no more cramping, just good old nice flow. That's right, Tide Pod Brand Colon Cleanse. Please use responsibly and use at home. This is a fast-acting product now available in Tropical Punch. Oh, all right, and we are back. So now that I've gotten the whole thing out of the way about that, the last segment, we're going to talk about something else that's going to irritate the ever-loving snot out of me. This headline is from Axios. As soon as I'm actually looking at the headline. Trump indicted by Manhattan grand jury. Oh, that was funny. I just had a scene run through my head from My Cousin Vinny. The jury. Anyway, there's an article I forgot to put in here. And I meant to. Yeah, I did. I meant to put it in here. Yeah, there it is. There it is. I missed that one. How could I have missed that one? Now, here's the thing whenever we're talking about an indictment from the grand jury, okay? There's a phrase that was coined back in 1995. It basically said something to the effect of a grand jury could indict a ham sandwich or would indict a ham sandwich. A ham sandwich can be indicted by a grand jury. Okay. Which is basically true. Okay. Because the grand jury is a group of people handpicked by the prosecution. And the only thing that they hear is evidence presented by the defense, or I'm sorry, by the prosecuting attorneys. Supposed to decide whether or not the prosecution has enough evidence to continue the trial. That's the quote unquote point of a grand jury. But it's sugar-coated, or not sugar-coated, it's hand-picked information. The defense doesn't get to speak whatsoever. They're really not even present for these things. Okay? It's just the prosecution and the grand jury and whatever evidence the grand jury wants to throw out there. There's no objections. There's no restrictions. It's a no holds barred. The prosecution can do whatever the heck they want to. There's evidence that is submitted to a grand jury that does not withstand the minimum requirements to be allowed in an actual criminal trial. That's how loose they are with the type of evidence and the evidence themselves that is brought before a grand jury. That's why they say that a ham sandwich can be indicted by a grand jury. And I brought that one up because apparently on Friday, there was a bunch of ham sandwiches that showed up in Congress in support of Donald Trump by the GOP. And I absolutely thought that was hilarious. That article came out of Politico. A popular phrase coined by a judge in 1985 led to the appearance of ham sandwiches on the Hill on Friday. Another show of support for Donald J. Trump by GOP lawmakers. I thought that was hilarious. So that's all it means to be indicted by the grand jury. There's not a very big threshold of proof. They can basically do whatever they want. And he was indicted for the payout to the exotic dancer, the hooker, whatever the heck she was. It was hush money that his lawyer paid that didn't have anything to do with campaign funds. Okay, now look, I want to paint a quick picture on something here. Okay, the Federal Election Commission. Okay, they looked at this very thing and they said, "Nah, there's nothing here. There's nothing here." Okay. The FBI looked into this. There's nothing here. No criminal activity took place whatsoever. Okay. So the FEC already looked into these charges and said, "No, we're not prosecuting this." FBI, no, we're not prosecuting this. There's nothing here. No crime was committed. Okay. This guy gets a hold of it. He has a vendetta against Trump. I mean, come on. His whole campaign promise was, "I'm going to get him. I'm going to get him. He's mine. I'm going to arrest the former president of the United States of America." He had a vendetta. He picked a target and decided that no river is fast enough, no mountain high enough, no forest thick enough that I'm not going to go through and I'm going to get my man. That's the wrong way to go about justice. Now, here's where it gets interesting. The Obama 2008 campaign was fined $375,000 by the Federal Election Commission because there was $1.8 million worth of campaign contributions that were not the paperwork wasn't filed correctly on it, and the FEC had no idea where that money came from. He was fined $375,000. So he was fined because there was something there. But that's because an actual crime had been committed. Maybe we should look at something that's a little bit closer to what President Trump was being accused of. Shush money, a non-disclosure agreement, an NDA that was signed by, Stormy Daniels was her name, I think, maybe, I don't know. But maybe we should look into that one a little bit better, because there was another guy who had a presidency riddled with sex scandals, and that's none other than Bill freaking Clinton. He paid out like 3 or 4 times as much as what was paid out to Stormy Daniels. It did come from his money / campaign money, what have you. It was an NDA. It was a non-disclosure agreement. These type of things happen all the freaking time. I'm not downplaying what happened. All I'm saying is this is common practice, okay? Nothing happened to Bill Clinton. They didn't go after Bill Clinton. They didn't do anything at all to Bill Clinton. Why? Because it was shush money. It was an NDA. It was a non-disclosure agreement. Some would say it's the cost of doing business. But former President Trump does it. Ooh. We have to fabricate something here because, okay, look, the Stormy Daniels said that she lied about the accusation. Trump said that didn't come from me. The lawyer that made the payout said that I did this. The money didn't come from campaign contributions. It wasn't campaign money. It wasn't money that came from Donald Trump. I paid this. The follow the money type of a thing, and that was done, and there was nothing there. It was investigated. There was nothing there. The FEC decided not to press charges. Now, here's the thing. President Trump was accused of something a long freaking time ago. In this nation, we have this thing called the statute of limitations. The statute of limitations has run up. This prosecuting attorney, the ADA, or whatever the heck he is, the DA, he has no legal grounds to do this. None whatsoever. And Republicans are sick and tired of this man, the two-tier justice system. We're sick and tired of it. Aren't you sick and tired of the two-tier justice system? Aren't you sick and tired of, aren't you sick and tired of Hillary Clinton walking free and then them going after Trump? Aren't you sick and tired of, Bill Clinton going free and Trump being indicted over something that wasn't a crime, has already been investigated, and no charges had been pressed, and now after the statute of limitations had run out, do they decide that they're going to prosecute? All because a DA has a vendetta against the Trump family. Aren't you tired of the law not being equally executed, no matter what the political party that the individual is affiliated with? Aren't you sick and tired of the two-tier justice system? This headline from CBS News, Peacock News. Trump allies erupt in fury over former president's indictment. And then this one, which has to be my favorite. From the same CBS Peacock News, Trump campaign says that it raised more than $4 million in 24 hours after his indictment. To be honest with you, here's what I think happened. We're getting fed up with this. Even the Democrats are seeing what's going on. The moderate Democrats are seeing what's going on. They don't like what's going on any more than what moderate Republicans, those that were formerly never Trumpers, possibly, they're not liking what's going on either. We look at this and we see this as an attack on America, because that's what it is. We have a president being prosecuted who's the leading Republican opponent against Joe Biden. Joe Biden doesn't want to comment on this. His number one opponent. This is a political hit piece, people. That's what this is. They're trying to make it to where he can't run for re-election. That's what they're trying to do to him. He's their biggest threat, and they are breaking the law, ignoring the law, the statute of limitations, in order to arrest him. They have nothing. What happens when the Roosters finally come home? When the fecal matter hit the rotary isolator, are you mad yet? Are you ticked off? Have you seen enough on the two-tier justice system? Have you seen enough laws being broken? Have you seen enough yet? Are you angry? Do you see what's happening to this country? The manipulation. Everything. Holy freaking cow. We're going to take another quick break. And when I return, we're going to talk a little bit about this Nashville shooting. Now, look, I don't know a whole heck of a lot of information on this, and we will get into what I do know right on the other side. So don't go anywhere. Let's dig into something. Have you ever had an ailment that a normal over-the-counter remedy just couldn't fight? If this is the case, then boy, have I got the solution for you. Tussin. That's right, Tussin. Cough? Tussin. Cold? Tussin. Runny nose? Tussin. Itchy watery eyes? Tussin. Broken leg? Tussin. Tussin is the ultimate cure-all, guaranteed to stop anything that ails you. Tussin. Available wherever OTCs are sold. All right, and we are back. So this is going to be the last segment of the show, guys. We're going to be talking about the shooting that happened in Nashville, and I got to get some lotion on my arm, or I'm going to get the hose again. Yeah, something like that. I'm sure by now everybody has heard about the tragedy that happened in Nashville. The 28-year-old killing 3 students and 3 faculty members. 28-year-old transgender Ashley or Aiden, whatever the heck you want to call her. I don't know. But apparently she was targeting a pastor who was, because she had gone to this school, gone to that church, whatever. The head pastor was supposedly one of the targets, or at least her main target. And the pastor's daughter actually was one of the students that was killed. One of the faculties that was killed, I guess, charged her. Ran towards her, trying to take her down, take her out. The 9-year-old that had pulled the fire alarm was actually the pastor's daughter who did that. Act of bravery right there. I couldn't even imagine that. Either one of those two. And I'm anxious to find out on this. Okay? Because the left would have you believe that this whole thing happened because of the attacks on transgender people. Okay, whatever. Can I be honest and upfront about something? There's no attack on transgender people. There really isn't. Okay. There really isn't. And I wonder if they are going to call a spade a spade. This is a hate crime through and through. They were targeted because it was a Christian school. They were targeted for being Christians. That's what she did. That's what he did. Audrey Hale. They say that the GOP, that Republicans don't care about this kind of thing going on. No. We do care. The problem is whenever the discussion goes straight to gun control, we're like, yeah, we need to put guns in the hands of teachers and faculty, and that would alleviate the problem. That would do a lot to alleviate the problem. But progressives, liberals, they don't want to listen to it. They're like, no, we have to get rid of the guns. And they're like, no, Second Amendment, you can't do that. But they're like, but that's what we need to do. No, you're wrong. See, the GOP, we have answers for this, but the left don't want to hear them. That's what the truth is. That's what's really going on this. You see, Audrey Hale went to another school before she went to the one that she shot the people at. She passed it up because it was too secure. I'm not going to be able to do enough damage here, kill enough people. I'm going to go to a different one that doesn't have as much, security and people there. This school was a gun-free zone. It didn't stop her from going in. She broke the law. And now you want to write more laws? How's that going to help? It's not. You know, in the theater a while back ago, what was it? The Dark Knight Rises, the one with Heath Ledger in it. You know, there was a person, you know, a crazy individual that went to one of the movie theaters showing that movie and shot up the place, killed a bunch of people. He passed like, what, 3 or 4 theaters before he came to the one that he finally got out of and started killing people at. What was the defining difference between them? The one that he stopped at had a gun-free zone sign posted outside. Didn't stop him from going in. In fact, he knew that if he went in there, there would be minimal opposition and he would have a higher body count. That's what he knew. Aiden Hale passed the school that had security there. She chose the one that she chose. Why? Because she knew there'd be a higher body count. Did you know that here in America, there's over 1,000 schools that have armed teachers and faculty? Wouldn't you know it that none of these schools has ever had an issue with mass shootings? Why? Because these people may be deranged. They may have mental health issues, as Audrey Hale did, but they're not stupid. They're not stupid. This was a hate crime through and through. The answer to stopping this kind of behavior, you know, why don't our students, our children, why don't they rate the same type of protection that Congress rates? Why don't they rate the same type of protection that the president rates? Why not? Are they not more important to us? Don't we know that our children are the future? Keep them out and lead the way. However that song goes. Are they not worth protecting? Why not have armed faculty, teachers, police officers, active or retired, uniform or plain clothes, either way you want to look at it? I would do both. I wouldn't do just uniform, because then you make them the number one first target. You should have plainclothes civilians there too, but plainclothes officers there too. I'm not against having a uniformed police officer, but maybe we should have some ununiform as well. Ununiform, non-uniform, you know what I'm saying. Our answer, as in constitutional answer, conservative answer, libertarian answer for this. Maybe not libertarian answer, but the conservative answer for this: protect our kids the same way that we protect Congress. Because in Congress, there isn't just a sign that says gun-free zone. It is guarded by people with guns. Because it's understood that criminals don't follow the law. A sign ain't going to stop a deranged person from entering into the house and shooting the place up, racking up a body count. They understand that in Congress. Why don't they allow the same thing in our schools to protect our children? It's an easy fix. And so far, the evidence proves that it's an effective one. But the left doesn't want to hear that. Because it doesn't help them do what it is they want to do, and that is disarm the people. They want to rip up and destroy the Declaration of Independence because it is inconvenient for them. They want to put President Trump in prison because he is inconvenient to them. They want to eliminate all resistance because it's inconvenient. They want to bring in foreigners by the thousands because these are people that don't honor the rule of law. They don't care about the Constitution. And they're going to have a big, huge, warm thank you for the Democrats who let them over here for free. Even though they are supporting sex trafficking, children trafficking, rape, murder, drug trafficking, and who knows how many other crimes just pouring across that border. But they don't care because their agenda is to have a loyal base to secure that a Republican never, ever has the opportunity to do what President Trump did in 2016. That's a fact. Look, my heart goes out to them. Those 6 people that were killed in that school. My heart goes out to the family. My heart goes out to the pastor of that school, of that church, who lost his daughter or her daughter. I have no idea whether the pastor is a man or a woman. I don't know. But to the pastor that lost their daughter, to a person whom they had been counseling to try to help because Audrey Hale was mentally disturbed. They have yet to release her manifesto. We don't know what's in it. Perhaps we'll never know. Because if it paints a picture that goes too much against transgender or the Democrats, you can bet that they'll probably never release it. My heart goes out to them. My heart goes out to the family of Audrey Hale. From what little I've heard, they did what they felt was the right thing to do. They knew that their daughter was troubled, and they tried to help. No love for Audrey Hale. She was 28 years old. She was the ruler of her own life. She chose to do what she did. She chose to attack where she attacked. She chose to pick a place that would provide for her the least amount of resistance to increase her body count. No love lost for her. Her family, my heart goes out to them. The family members of those who lost their life, some in acts of heroism, my heart goes out to them. But make no mistake about it, though, this has happened because of what we are allowing to go on in this nation. Right now we have a lawless, godless nation. Is it any wonder why what's going on is going on? And I don't care what you believe in. Okay, I really don't. And this isn't the religion show. Okay, I know that. This is politics. This is politics. But the fact of the matter is, you fix what's going on in this nation at home. What's one of the things that people say more times than not whenever they're doing something they're not supposed to be doing? Well, it's okay as long as I don't get caught. You want to know what type of person says that kind of a thing? A person who has no fear of God. No fear of authority. I can do whatever I want to as long as I don't get caught. It's that fear in something bigger than you that will have a final say on your eternal destination that keeps people in check, that keeps people in line. Understanding that there are universal laws that cannot be violated, and if you violate them, there's hell to pay. Even our founding fathers that were atheists understood the values and the morals that were within the Holy Bible. And that's why one of the first acts that George Washington had as president was to issue Bibles to schools. You see, they understood, George Washington did, that whole separation of church and state. Let me tell you something. That's not in here. Founding document, Constitution of the United States of America, Declaration of Independence, and the Bill of Rights, and the rest of the amendments, separation of church and state is not in here. Those words don't exist in here. It ain't in here. You want to prove me wrong? Read it, word for word. You find it? Give me section. Give me article, give me section. Give me paragraph. I want to know. If it's the exact same one, give me page number. Take a picture of it. Send it to me. Email me. I don't care. It ain't in there. The fact that we can have people going on their prayer rugs faced east and pray in school, but yet you can't have prayer at the flag. You can't have prayer in school by the Christians. That honks me off. The fact that they want to normalize and nationalize, what is that? Drag queen story hour, but yet they don't want to have pastor story hour. I got a problem with that. They want to say that we want to ban books and we want to, limit free speech and this, that, and the other. And no, we're not. That we're not attacking transgenderism. What you do to you as a 28-year-old or as an adult, age of majority being 18, that's up to you. But leave our freaking kids alone. That's what we're saying. Don't promote in school something that you don't let go both ways. A 14-year-old can't get a tattoo. A 14-year-old can't go to the theaters and see Friday the 13th. A 14-year-old can't get body piercings. Why? Because they're not an adult yet. They haven't reached the age of majority, because a tattoo is a permanent, semi-permanent body alteration, whatever. But yet, we're saying that a 9-year-old can get their genitalia chopped off, get their, uppers and lowers taken care of, and that's perfectly fine because 9-year-olds know best. Are you fucking kidding me? That's what we're allowing in our nation now. That's what we're normalizing. Really? Really? I ain't got nothing against gays, lesbians, what have you. I ain't got nothing against them whatsoever. But these are our kids. They have their whole lives. All we can do is embrace them for who they are. And if when the time comes that they reach the age of majority and they still want to follow through, then okay. Do it with my blessing. But until then, try to be happier in your own skin. We'll do it. But wait. That's all we're saying. And I'm somebody with a Christian freaking background, and I'm saying that. It's not an attack on transgender people. It's not an attack on gays. It's not an attack on lesbians. It's not an attack on any of the rainbow community. Rainbow community, LGBTQRSTLMNOP. It ain't an attack on any of them. It's protecting our kids. Look, I'm a card-carrying male. Job number one, you protect the women and children. That's what you do. No ifs, no ands, no buts. That's what our job is. You protect the women and kids. That's what we're doing. Ron DeSantis had this this bill. It's the Parents' Bill of Rights. There's not a single thing in there that I recall that I had any issues with. But basically speaking, and I'm pretty sure this article is in my magazine on Flipboard. Again, you can just go to thehohoshow.com and just click on the newsfeed tab. Okay, I'm sorry. That wasn't anything with Ron DeSantis. That's from the Hill. House Republicans pass Parents' Bill of Rights. Basically, in a nutshell, what this article is talking about, what the Parents' Bill of Rights is, it's instead of, the school having every say in everything, and the parents can participate if the school allows it, says that, oh, no. First and foremost, the people whom are in charge of the children's education is their parents. That the school must communicate with the parents about everything their child is going to learn, curriculum they are going to be given, books that are going to be available in the library, and things that are going on. The parents are not going to be innocent bystanders about their children's education, and that's as it should be. Because when you are talking about critical race theory, whenever you're talking about the LGBTQ movement, whenever you're talking about a bowel movement, the people in charge of this should be the parents. What do I have against critical race theory? You're teaching that a black kid is helpless because they're black, and a white kid is an oppressor because they're white, and it ain't got nothing to do with character. You're telling a black kid that he's worthless, he's a piece of crap, he's garbage because he's black. He'll never make it nowhere unless he has help from somebody else, help from the man. That's what you're telling him. That's racist garbage. And I don't want anything to do with it. You're telling kids that sex is arbitrary. No, gender is arbitrary. Yeah. There's XX chromosome, there's XY chromosome. That's it. That's it. That's the only two options. That's the only two options there is. There's male, there's female. That's it. Your sexuality can be whatever the heck it wants to be, but your gender is chromosome, and that's science. Boys have a penis, girls have a vagina. That's it. Two genders. That's it. Hate to tell you, but that's my education from Kindergarten Cop. Arnold Schwarzenegger. That's science. And yet, Democrats want to call us science deniers. Okay. Look, I don't care what your sexuality is. Doesn't mean anything to me. I don't care. I have friends, I have family that belong to the rainbow community. I don't care. I love them the same. I have a dear friend that is gayer than a $3 bill. I got to take that back. there are certain things that are even too gay for him. He told me about one of them. I about died laughing. I thought it was freaking hilarious. One of my dearest friends. I love him to death. He'll always be my brother. I don't care his sexuality. I don't love him despite his sexuality. I love him. It doesn't matter his sexuality. I don't care. I know the quality of the man. I know who he is. He's my friend. I have family the same. I don't care. And even this crap that's going on right now in our nation, even he says, is a load of crap. Yeah. You always have heard the song, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. Anymore, I don't even feel like that. I feel like I'm moonwalking. My legs are going this way, but my body's going backwards, No matter how hard I try, we just keep getting farther and farther away from where we know we should be as a nation. Does that trouble you as much as it does me? To know the nation that our founding fathers built for us. Look, this is not a democracy. It's a constitutional republic. Even the Democrats break their own rules time and time again. I'm going to end with this, and then we're going to take off. I will not comply. I will not submit. This has been The Ho-Ho Show. For more information, you can head to thehohoshow.com. And for the merchandise store, you can head on over to stinkpickle.com. That is stinkpickle.com. Until next time.